Phase Hero. This is episode 44 on the podcast audio form. This is Daredevil Born Again, episode 4, recap and discussion. If you have not yet watched Daredevil Born Again, episode 4, what are you doing? What are you doing? Get to it. BD here, joined tonight by Jenna Anderson.
Hey, everybody.
And Jamie Jurek.
Hello, here's the very close-up of our faces. We're our four-person podcast. It really looks, I miss Aaron.
Aaron couldn't make it tonight. Shout out to Aquila Assassin for the OVW match. Shout out. Thank you so much. That's an easy way to get me to shout you out, by the way, and you know it. So, but thank you for that. Overdrive just released the match with Jake Painter, and I'm alive. My back hurts, but I'm here. So Daredevil Director Debrief is also available now in podcast form. I'm going to talk about some of that stuff in this episode. Director Jeffrey Nachmanoff really took us inside the episode in that and shared some secrets of filming and the reshoots and some of the stuff that went into this, and it was really interesting. So I'm really, really proud of what we've been able to do with those. So thank you to everybody for listening to those. Jenna, what did you think about tonight's episode?
I was definitely surprised by it in a lot of ways. It was interesting seeing how long it took to get to Frank and kind of the context in which we saw him. I was not prepared for, as the chat is saying, the Scott's Tots level moment of we built this city being ruined by all of the choirs singing it to Wilson Fisk. Absolutely delightful. I'm never going to hear that song the same way again. It did just a lot of groundwork, I feel like, for like where the rest of this series is really going to go, and a lot of the beats of this season are going to go. And I definitely think, as much as episode 3 previously really, really had an impact on me, I think this one was really good as well.
Jamie, what'd you think?
I enjoyed it. Missing my punchy 2 weeks in a row. Where's my punchies? So I was like, again? That bummed me out, but like there was so much juice in this episode. The Frank and Matt scene was just such a well-acted scene. I can't wait until we get into that. Also, for everyone, I watched the first 3 episodes of Punisher today. I'm moving along, and I noted, I was like, man, he's hot with a beard. So when he showed up with a beard today, I was like, yeah, that's right. The We Built This City thing is the hardest I've laughed all week.
It was funny.
I was cracking up. At both, oh my god, I had a good time watching this one.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious, and that juxtaposed with the serious nature of Frank Castle's return. Jamie, earmuffs. I am going to say something about Punisher from the show season 2 ending. If you don't want to know, yeah, there you go. This is the first time we've seen Frank since he saved Amy and kind of rode off into the sunset in the Punisher season 2. And brutally murdered the Joe Russo clone, Okay, you're good, Jamie. You're good. Bring it on back. There you go. So it's interesting that this is where we pick
Question.
up, because we just had it confirmed that it's been 7 years since the original Daredevil series, which I'm pretty sure Punisher was right around the same time. So this is the first time we've seen him since then. And he's just been dwelling in a basement.
I'm wondering, I don't remember, did Frank in the original Defenderverse ever find out that Matt was Daredevil? Did we ever see that?
I'm pretty sure, from what I remember.
Okay, because I recall that, and I just watched it. I don't remember him ever discovering that. And so if someone in the chat remembers, I just don't remember that happening. But maybe I gotta watch it all again.
I don't remember it, but according to Google, an article on Screen Rant, it was only confirmed that Castle knew Matt Murdock was Daredevil thanks to the trailers for Daredevil Born Again. So maybe there wasn't a moment. I just assumed, because I didn't remember a specific moment either when you asked, but I was like, he must have. But he just calls him Red. Yeah. He smirked when he heard Matt's voice, says Bjorn. I thought that scene was great. By the way, that sequence, and this is from my interview with the director, was originally shot for a later episode.
Huh.
Like that whole sequence was supposed to come much later in the show, and they reworked it, and they had to reshoot a couple things, but they didn't have John Bernthal anymore. So a couple of the Matt Murdock scenes were added in after the fact to change the wording. And that was originally a scene that was directed by David Boyd, who directed The Walking Dead and several other really good shows. But he directs episodes, what are now 6 and 7. And this was then added into this episode. And then the scene with the Red Hook thing where they were out there planning all the stuff, the typical bad guy stuff. that was directed by Michael Cuesta, who directed episodes 2 and 3. So I don't think that's really a testament to the overhaul and the reshoots of the show. I think that is more common in TV than we probably expect. Maybe this is a bit more than usual, but the way the directors talked about it, they seemed to understand that, on television, sometimes you'll direct something and it'll end up in a different episode, or sometimes doesn't get used at all. Whereas in a movie, it's the movie or it's not. I guess with the exception being like if a Marvel movie throws a post-credit scene that you directed onto a movie that comes out earlier or something. But I found that interesting. I like this episode quite a bit. I think it's Jamie's point. We need some action. I feel like that's why they threw Daredevil suiting up at the end of this, because they know we're all impatient. We have the attention spans of a TikTok time span. So I think that was a wise thing to do. That was directed by Jeffrey Nachmanoff. So that was always part of the plan for this episode. But we got a $5 here from Challenger Girl ATX. Did Matt and or Frank get blipped? Do we know for sure one way or the other? Listen, we're all trying to figure that out. I thought the Echo stuff was during the blip. Was it?
It was. So we know Matt at least didn't get blipped, but we don't know about Frank. I remember Jessica Gao saying during She-Hulk of like, they've just stopped caring about referencing the blip of like everyone in universe has moved on. So we just don't address it anymore, which like does bum me out because I do wish we would get some clarification or like talking about it a little bit. But I would be shocked if we ever find that out for Frank, but maybe it's in the special presentation. Who knows?
Remember when Endgame came out and they released all the posters and everyone who got blipped was like grayed out?
Mm-hmm.
I need a book of that. But like Feige released a book that's every single MCU character that has a speaking line. It could be this thick and just give me black and white, color. Black and white, color. That's all I need. A little picture book to explain the blip.
Yeah, if you asked me about a character from Infinity War and Endgame, if they were blipped, I would remember. And then some of them. Like, Yelena and the other stuff that we saw. But Punisher, we never knew. Cantina Talk, thank you for the $2. Let me tell you something, Red, a little Shane Walsh reference. Let me tell you something, Matt. They should have worked that in there. Hannah Basso, thank you for the $1.99. What did y'all think of the Skrull mention? All right, we're cutting ahead to Mr. Bradford. Was his name Leroy Bradford?
Yeah, Leroy Bradford. I laughed at that. I thought that was a delightful little bit of dialogue. I know on this show we talk about the legacy of Secret Invasion, so it's funny that it's just in a one-off line of dialogue.
What a tragedy.
When he said Skrull, I did a double take because I forgot what universe I was in for a second. I was like, what? Oh, which is funny because I love that they did that because of how much we're like, why don't they talk about that more? There's a lot of Skrull stuff that went down, and I have wondered, like, are we just ignoring that? Or are they just pretending it didn't happen? So I like that. Also, he was great. I loved his speech that he gave. I really want to shout out that actor. I looked at my IMDb and he wasn't listed yet, and I was like,
Charles Hudson III.
Get quicker. Thank you. I loved him. I loved that speech.
Charlie.
Yeah, I was really thought that was good work.
That to me was such a great pivotal moment for Matt Murdock too, because this episode feels like it's hammering home between that scene, which does it by through words giving Matt perspective on how the system is letting people down, and then Frank in the same episode through emotions reminds Matt that the system doesn't always give you the justice you want as well. And it's just constantly all these sides of Matt's life are urging him to become Daredevil and take justice into his own hands, because that's the only way he'll feel satisfied with it. And I thought all that was really well done. And yeah, Charlie Hudson III did a phenomenal job in that role. Given that, like, you come in to the show for a small part and you're able to have that presence that really changes things like that. We got a comic hot take here. That Bradford character. All right, well, never mind. We're not gonna. Wait. Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, we're gonna move on from that. I think that this is actually a commentary on a very real experience that a lot of people have in this episode. And I find it impressive. Not only that Marvel is diving into the Punisher of it all, and then like the logo of the Punisher being taken over by people who in positions of power who are abusing it, and also people who the system is actually failing. If you think that's not happening, you're not paying attention. Like, if you think that's not happening in the real world, that you're not paying attention. So get that shit out of here. Anyway.
Yeah, great time to remind everyone to go watch Ava DuVernay's documentary, The 13th.
Yes,
on Netflix, streaming now.
Did we get a She-Hulk reference with the mention of Madison? Was there a Madison reference?
If it was not the same spelling. It was like Madison in like the way that the president Madison is spelled. I wouldn't. I have subtitles for everything, so I would have known if it was spelled with 2 N's and a Y.
Matt had his girl Sophia in there trying to help with the Leroy Bradford case. I was like, man, Matt's got them. Matt's got these girls all over the place. This man is competing with Tony Stark for the MCU's biggest playboy.
His charm is infectious. Like, it is honestly surreal, especially in this day and age of just like romances and sex scenes and all of this stuff in media, of just seeing like an actor just be able to have chemistry with every single person that they meet, and especially in instances like this where it's just a very small scene. Like, I thought that was delightful. I also have to say, with the Latvian Independence Day or whatever holiday it was, my brain heard Latveria first and then had to like glitch, and I was like, oh man, is this how we get like Latveria exists in the MCU? And then it was like, nope, it's just Latvian Heritage Day.
The choir, the Latvian kid choir that was singing to Fisk that we talked about earlier, apparently in the first take of that, Jeffrey said that the kids were too good at singing, so they had to redo the audio to make it more painful for Fisk to have to stand there and listen to it.
I'm so glad that you got that information, because I was dying to know, like, did they just like make it like, let's not have the kids rehearse? Because like, my best friend's a theater teacher, and she teaches kids to sing all day, and I'm like, these kids are bad. I've heard kids singing badly, but like they were bad. Oh my god! And the fact that it was the kids and the Latvians singing the same song was like, was that his campaign song? I don't know. It was so funny. I can't get over it. The Muppets sing that song in the Muppet 2011 movie, and now that's where I go to. And now I think Daredevil just usurped the Muppets on what I'm going to think about when I hear this song.
That's impressive for anything to usurp the Muppets for you.
Yeah, exactly.
This was hilarious. All right, what else we got in the notes for today? Oh, the episode opens. Let me go and get this image up here for us with Angela Del Toro's official introduction. We saw her in the courtroom last week. We talked about in last week's episode how she does go on to take that White Tiger mantle from her uncle Hector Ayala. But this sequence here in the beginning with the amulet. So when I interviewed Jeffrey, he told me that they filmed this multiple ways, and there's one version of it that the lights in like the eyes sort of light up when she approaches. And he asked me, he didn't know for sure whether it was in the cut because obviously it gets handed off to the editors and different things like that. And I was like, I don't think it was. I said, I watched this episode twice and I didn't see that. But after he said that, tonight was the first night I was able to watch the episode again. Look at this here real quick. Oh,
Huh.
oh, is that a little glowy?
Maybe.
I think that's a little glow right there. Here, watch. I can't play this for too long because YouTube will probably take us down. But I can give us like a 3-second play here. All right, we're gonna zoom in.
See.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a little
It's
glow.
just a reflection from the plastic.
It could be, but the fact that he said that,
Interesting.
I find that interesting. Hold on, we gotta bring the kids back up for Brandon Moore's comment. Where are they? Where Fisk loves the kids more than John Cena does. Brandon Moore, $20. Thank you, man. Those kids had
Thanks,
zero
Brandon.
rehearsal time, and it's the
Thank
funniest
you.
thing I've seen all day. That was great. It was Sam. I'm reading comments now before putting them up there. There are no moments in any of the Netflix shows that establishes Frank knows who Matt is, and he paid $4.99 to say that, so it has to be.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We'll take you at your word, Sam. Not every comment that's paid for is true, but we appreciate.
But we like them a little more.
Yeah, we like. Yeah.
No, that's
But yeah, the ending of this episode. Oh, well, we're getting some Muse stuff. Let's talk about Muse.
Yeah.
If you don't know Muse from the comics, Muse is violent. Muse is terrible. Muse is terrifying. Muse kills people and uses their blood to make paintings. We've seen Muse paintings all over New York City already. Jenna, what do you make of the Muse stuff while I find a freeze frame for us?
I have enjoyed the slow burn of it, like especially in that 2-episode premiere, like you said, just seeing the street art start to pop up, and then now seeing like there's a White Tiger kind of memorial mural that pops up in this episode multiple times, and like once you get to the end of the episode and you fully get the context of like here is how that is being made. I remember when this character was rumored for this show, and I was like, there's no way on Disney Plus that they're going to adequately lean into the using the blood of his murder victims to paint these murals, but that's what we're getting to, and I'm impressed that we're at that point.
Sure enough. Yeah, I find it crazy that this is like one of the villains they went with for something like this. Jamie, what do you think? Are you familiar with Muse?
I don't know a lot about Muse, but I love what I'm seeing. I love that concept. That's I like the idea of like villainous artist, like evil art is kind of a cool idea. So I'm really into that. And I did clock the White Tiger mural, and I thought that was really cool. So even like I don't know enough, like villainous, but like with like kind of twistedly good intentions almost. Is it like villainous, but with like I don't know, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. I can't wait to find out.
We had a couple comments that I wanted to call back to. During his trial, Frank makes the connection. Casually cosplaying says, wasn't Matt unmasked at the end when Frank was sniping to helping him out? I don't remember, honestly.
See, we all have. I was under the impression, because I remember finishing season 2 being like, oh, Frank never found out, and then we never saw them together again. So
I vaguely
but
remember
I
the
could be
cool
wrong.
scene in Daredevil season 2 where Matt is giving a speech while Frank is on the stand, and you can see the gears turning in his head, figuring it out.
Okay.
Yeah, season 2 Daredevil. God, that was like 8 years ago.
That was a long time ago.
My goodness. I'm with Jude on here again. I brought this up last week. I'm getting tired of the BB show. I'm with you. I'm tired of the BB show as well.
Disagree.
I don't need it.
The old man in this episode, when he's like, I would be a vigilante if I could. Delightful. I found that to be very fun. I don't know. They're not more than like 45 seconds of screen time. And like I said last week, they just add color in the way that like comic books showing civilians on the news or just talking about something. I think they're cool.
I agree. And that guy felt like a role that that would have been Stan Lee's cameo.
Yeah.
Right. Like if he was still around. And I love that old man. And again, I was trying to look him up because I know him. He reminds me of Joe Spinell. He's not, because Joe Spinell died in 1989. But that guy, I'm like, who is he? He's got some juice to him. I feel like I know him. So IMDb, get quicker with your episode updates. Come on.
I seem to be and the lesser majority in the minority here. I understand the point of the BB stuff. Oh, hey, Null V on my team, but Mushfiker, Media Report rules.
I'm seeing mixed.
I think they're cool transition shots, says Rough Landing Tony. I like the BB stuff, sans Cantina Talk. Cantina Talk also, by the way, always liking stuff on Instagram. Appreciate you, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
I just have to say, because like Brandon Moore says this in the chat, and this was what I was about to say. People have always said we want like a street level, civilian focused MCU Disney Plus show. Like we just want to see the civilian side of things, and then you're seeing it in these little like less than 1 minute snippets, and people are bored. So it's like I don't know. I think it
that is not what I no.
But no. I'm just saying. I'm not saying you specifically. I'm just saying like the internet writ large wants more of this, and then when they are given it, they're a little like, nitpicky.
I want to see somebody running from the debris of Loki's invasion of New York.
That's expensive. They're not going to make that show.
Well, I don't want to see the cheap version where they're like, well, you know, Mayor Fisk is a guy and I got thoughts on him. Doesn't work for me.
BB hates human stories, confirmed.
Human interest stories, just not his thing.
No, I much prefer Frank Castle going upon his introduction.
I said that before we started recording of like, I was not expecting the very first line of dialogue to be the meme. I tweeted this before we went live of like, it's literally the Simpsons meme of like, say the line, Bart, because between that and when I was a boy, it's like, we're delivering on the catchphrases, for lack of a better term, from the Netflix jokes.
I thought the line "candy ass superhero shit" was a great line.
Yeah.
But then you know he's urging Matt to say Foggy. Matt smacks Frank in the face and apologizes for it. But Daredevil's trying to come out. Daredevil's trying to pop out a little bit. Oh. So I thought that scene was great. This felt like a really pivotal episode for Matt and his battle with being Daredevil, as it did for Wilson in his battle with wanting to be Kingpin, not just Mayor. Being Mayor ain't as fun as he thought it would be. Not only are you listening to kids sing, you have to get permits and listen to the woman on your team who knows what she's talking about, despite wanting to listen to Daniel because he's a guns blazing dipshit who wants just to do everything you want to do right away. I like the dynamic that we're seeing on the mayor side of this whole business than this life he's got going. I also enjoy that Vanessa is more drawn to him when he is the power hungry, ruthless guy than when he's in power as mayor, trying to do things more properly, and that the two of these characters are unraveling simultaneously. I think is a real good testament to the writing on the show. I think it's really well done.
I need to hear Jamie's thoughts because I know she is the shipper of them and not wanting them to be fighting. So I'm very curious what you think after this episode.
You ship Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk?
No, with Vanessa and Fisk.
Oh, I was like, hold on a second.
No, the couples therapy of like we really got into it in the couples therapy. So
well, you see how I could have thought you.
I understand, but you mentioned Vanessa.
That
so
is something I would do. That does sound like me.
Also, like if she did, she would not be alone, just based on the nature of the internet and fandom. But yeah, I want to know what you thought of like the couples therapy this episode.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting to the nitty gritty. Are we trying to save this marriage or dissolve this marriage? I also want to know. And I like the idea of like, you know, she's not scared of him. But what gets me is like, he has this man trapped in his basement or wherever that he does. And she said, don't kill him. He hasn't killed him. He did what she said. I don't know. I feel like the show is going to split them up and I'm going to be sad about it. But like, what can you do? I do think like, but here's my more thing. That's Adam. That's the guy. How long has he been down there? It looks like he's been there for 35 years.
I was going to say like, it had to have been a while if like his hair is that long and he's like that unkept, but I don't know. I get you having that reaction because I totally agree with it.
So wait, what do you think that they're by the end of the season they're breaking up?
I'm preparing myself for it. I really don't want them to. I love them as a couple. I think that they're freaks, but I do think it's leaning that way. Yeah, I'm pro freak.
Vanessa wants to get a divorce.
I did love just the play of that scene and just his delivery of like, oh, I took care of it. Like the every single way that he reacted of like basically reading between the lines of him taking care of the Adam of it all. I found that to be delightful. That was a really good performance.
I just want to address in the comments, people like, his hair's long, he's been there for months. His hair is long. That man's hair has been growing for years and years. She found like an Easy Rider biker that was like passing through town and started hooking up with him.
Or just a hipster.
Story.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. That man's hair, like, maybe his like he's a little grimy from being in there, but his hair was long before he got captured.
It reminds me of like Justin Hammer for some reason. If Justin Hammer was locked away forever, I get Sam Rockwell vibes from this poor man locked up down there. Scott Autry, thank you so much for the $19.99. Much love, you guys. Please make sure to link you guys merch in this episode. Just ordered another shirt. Thank you, my friend. You go to phasehero.com. All the merch is still available right now on phasehero.com. There's 150 people watching live, so I expect the 150 t-shirts to be on their way to you tomorrow. No, thank you guys so much. Seriously, thank you, Scott. All right, what else did we have here to talk about in this episode? I loved how Matt found the shell casing.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
Knocking over a mini bottle and following the sound of it. They actually built a sewer that was sat on top of it so they could put the camera under it to film up and all that stuff. Just like the Jeffrey interview is really, really interesting. It's full of insights about this episode. And that was actually filmed the same night that they filmed the White Tiger death scene in the same place, obviously. But they had such limited time because the sun was coming up and they had to film White Tiger getting shot in the head, which was a pretty wild scene. So yeah, the episode, really this one wraps up with Heather and Matt. They seem to be going strong, but Matt is being more drawn to Daredevil. You know, when she goes to sleep, he goes to the rooftop and starts twirling his little batanis. And then Wilson, meanwhile, is trying to fix things with Vanessa, and he has Adam in his dungeon, which is insane. And Muse is cooking somewhere. So that's kind of where we're at this point.
People are talking about Fisk's meal a lot in the comments, and I really do think we should address the meal because I clocked it too. I was like, that's not an omelet. That is a plate of pasta and sausage right there.
Yeah.
He's eating and I think that there's a lot to say about that choice. Truly, he's cracking up. If that means eating that meal, I don't know. I think it's a sign of danger to come.
Why?
Well, a big thing about Fisk is that he's so in control, and a big part of that is like these like little omelets that he always eats, right? These like very simple meal, and this, you know, I love Italian food. That's why I'm with an Italian man, and that
cooks too. My God, does he cook?
That he was eating, that was intense, an intense meal. We've never seen him eat something like that before.
I will say, because when he had the thing of intimidating the police officer and he ate the sandwich and just was like, I didn't even like this sandwich or whatever, but was just like doing it to commit to the bit. Like, now that you're pointing it out, like the food of it all is a really interesting through line this season. Like, would not have clocked that.
One food, so.
One other thing I forgot to bring up was the Daniel of it all. I mean, I mentioned Daniel earlier, but I didn't talk about the fact that he leaked the garbage plan to BB and her freaking BB reports. And that led to him then just outing himself for having done that and taking accountability for it immediately. Every time, whether it's Sheila stepping up to Fisk and saying, listen, I know you want to plow this down and build something, you need a permit, or Daniel saying, I made a huge mistake and this is costing you, I just think he's going to kill these people. I'm just like, Sheila's dead. Daniel's dead. You're cooked. GG's, bro. Thanks for playing. Your head's going between the door of the GM seat up the street. It's a wrap for you. And no, Fisk is not killing these people. Do you guys feel that tension too, or is it just me?
Yes, absolutely.
Of course. I was surprised the way he reacted to it, because Daniel, he's talking about I was drunk and on ketamine. Dude, God, shut up! Stop talking.
And Fisk was like, "Stop talking." The less I know, the less I know.
Yeah. I was and I wasn't surprised. It doesn't feel like a character trait, but I also know that he does realize he's not running the same kind of business now. He does have to be aware, and it is clear that this kid believes in him, and he does need allies.
Yeah.
But on the other side, I'm like, they're not going to kill off the Gandolfini this quick. There was one point where that kid made a face, and I was like, wow, he looks like he's dead.
I agree. That scene where they're talking, and he's apologizing, I was like, he really feels like his dad's son in this scene. It's crazy. I still believe the theory of by the end of the season, he's going to become even more like Fisk. Who knows exactly what that entails, but I think he's going to emulate all of the wrong traits from being with that man for an extended period of time.
I agree with Brandon Moore here. I think Fisk just realizes Daniel is useful. I think he can look at Daniel and see somebody who can be manipulated the same way he did with Bullseye, the same way he did with a lot of characters in the previous show. He can tell people who are weak and sort of blindly allegiant to him. And I think he sees that in Daniel, and he's like, this kid is going to be an asset. This kid will be a tool to me. And now he's in my debt. So he loves when people are either indebted to him or he can threaten them or blackmail them. I think that was exactly what happened there. But instead of killing him for the mistake, which in previous Kingpin, who was so reactionary, probably would have, he sees the opportunity here to do this legally, but also have a seemingly boundlessly loyal employee at this point. Daniel is the new Wesley, but just weak and not an actual friend, says Cantina Talk. It's an interesting take.
Emily pointed out of like, is it a Penguin Vic type of relationship? And it's like, I think it is to a certain point, because I think Oz, that storyline wraps up the way that it does because Oz is like, he's too trusting of me, and that eventually is going to backfire. Whereas I feel like Fisk is going to be like exploiting the fact that he is so loyal to him.
I think Buck is more of the Wesley, the other guy who's always in the room. And yeah, I like that.
Guys, we're cosplaying. What if Fisk adopts Daniel? He's an adult. He's an adult person.
That is true.
He's old enough to work in that office. Yeah, could fill the role.
He doesn't need to be adopted.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Things we didn't expect to talk about on Phase Hero. Officer Powell, by the way, I'm not going through a single episode of this season without calling that guy a D-bag. I hate that guy. Even though he was telling the truth, I still don't like him. In that scene where Matt was questioning him about the death of Hector. I love how that's shot, by the way. I love how they give us the look into Matt's perspective of learning he's telling the truth. But Officer Powell just got his ass whooped and is still so arrogant when Matt's there. If I was that guy, I'd be like, bro, you just spiked me on my head in an apartment and I thought you were blind. I still don't know how you did it. I'm just going to mind my business and move along.
I just liked Matt being like, next time, just bring more men to back you up. Like, that was such a perfect comeback.
Matt's getting cocky.
It's great. It's awesome.
And Sophia likes it. Sophia looked him up and down as he walked out. She said, he might be blind, but I can see. She liked it. Anyway, all right. Anything else you want to talk about from this episode? Go ahead.
We didn't get too deep into the niece of it all and like how it seems possible that she's going to take on the mantle. I just want to say that I really liked her scene. I thought she was really good, and I was like, "Ooh, I would love to see her." We talked last week, like getting in with the Young Avengers. I was like, "Oh, I really hope that the White Tiger's niece."
Oh, the niece. I thought you said Denise, and I was like, "Who's Denise?"
Oh, niece.
New character draft.
I liked her a lot, and I hope that the fact that we've seen her again makes me think like we're definitely going to see her suit up in this show, like 100%. Jeff
was saying that the little girl was so good at the part that Charlie pulled him aside and was like, "I'm scared of her."
Wow.
He said we would just say bring tears, and boom, the cameras are real. She'd bring tears. She was so good.
Wow.
I think Angela Del Toro hopefully has but there's like a million Young Avengers running around the MCU right now. My faith in that actually paying off is getting less and less with every new hour of MCU content.
I don't really think she's going to be Young Avenger, but I do think we are going to see her. Be White Tiger. I think that is 100% going to happen.
Hannah with a $4.99. Thank you. Hannah said Powell, I think, has been killed by Muse based on seeing the plaid shirt at the start of the episode matches Powell's shirt. I don't know what that's in reference to. And Powell was very much alive in this episode.
Yeah,
he was the cop who pressed his badge up against Matt in the hallway. But if you want to, that's a super chat. We appreciate it. If you want to clarify, I'll be happy to. You don't have to super chat another one. But all right, anything else from the comment section? Drop it in there. And then in the meantime, is it 10 score time?
Can I acknowledge one thing that we haven't touched on when we talked about this show? One credit in the opening credits has made the internet laugh a lot because it's David Feige, who is not related to Kevin. He is a lawyer who co-wrote this episode and is working on the show. Supposedly no relation to Kevin Feige, but I remember when the premiere happened, people were like, why are there suddenly two Feiges? When did that happen? But just the weirdest coincidence that they have the same last name.
David Feig.
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know. How old were you when you learned how to pronounce Feige properly? It wasn't the first time I saw his name. It took me a while.
That's fair.
Like 2011, I'd say I probably learned. So 3 years of the MCU, and then I learned how to say Feige the right way. Nowadays, when I talk to somebody and they say Feige wrong, I'm like, how do you not?
Well, now you just call him Kev, so that
Shut
makes
up.
it easier for you.
I'll tell you, in the interview with Jeffrey Nachmanoff, as you just saw, by the end of the second interview, which is next week's because he directs episode 5, I said, thanks, Jeff. And I was like, well, I just have I'm just going to start calling Brad like, yay, brah. Like, I don't know. I'm getting too comfortable with these people, man. It's a problem. My boy Kev.
It's going to be like BW, then it's going to be short of B-dubs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to call him Windy.
Perfect.
Like,
he's going to be listening to this episode and being like, oh, no.
Next interview, he's going to be like, remember, don't you want to call me Windy, bro? Isn't that Windy? Oh, you actually listen to the show? Stop it. We got to block you on the feed. Nah, I mean, it's I don't take it for granted that I'm able to talk to these people and bring the insights to our audience. And it's because of our audience that is possible in the first place. So thank you to everybody. B-dubs, BW, says Stamina, all the way from London. Take B-dubs to B-dubs. That's right. We're going to do a Buffalo Wild Wings episode of Phase Hero with Brad. It's going to be great. It's going to be like our own hot ones, but we're just going to get lemon pepper and honey barbecue because I don't do spicy.
Hell yeah.
All right. 10 scores. We're going to start with Jamie. Jamie, where are you at on this one?
I think I gave last week an 8.4. This one I liked, but it was really the Frank and Matt scene that really held it together. I don't think I liked it as much as last week, so I'm going to give this one an 8.2. Okay,
8.2. Jenna?
I was definitely higher on last week's episode than I am on this one. Like I still liked a lot of it, but again, like that Frank and Matt scene was the centerpiece of it for me, and just the hilarity of we built this city. Like there are moments that I liked, but it definitely isn't my favorite episode so far. So I think I will say 8.4. I'll give Jamie's score that she gave last week.
8.4, and I'm gonna meet y'all in the middle. I'm gonna say 8.3. I think this was a solid episode. This feels like it gave the show, it kept the momentum going in a really good direction. It really felt like a build, not necessarily like an event episode besides the Frank Castle stuff, which I thought was fantastic. But other than that, and the getting John Bernthal back for the first time in many, many years, I thought this was it was a good episode. It's not reinventing the wheel. It's not something that we're going to be talking about, I think, at the end of this, other than the Punisher stuff and maybe the moment where Kingpin is being sang to by the kids. So for that reason, 8.3 out of 10, which gives us, all right, hold on 1 second, divided by 3. We're at an 8.3 out of 10 average. I probably could have done that without doing that. I didn't need a calculator for that. We got a 9 in the comments, an 8, a 7, a 9, an 8. This gets a 9 out of me. Last week was an 8.5, but Frank and Matt elevated. I agree. That was the highlight. That's what kept this episode from being in the 7s for me, really, because it was just a good episode. It's fine. And to me, good is in the 7s. Better than good is in the 8s. Amazing is in the 9s. 8.2. We built this rating on it. 8.2. Challenger Girl says 8.6. Seth says 8. All right. Well, I think that is our episode today. Jamie, any last words for tonight's episode of Phase Hero?
This was so much fun. I love doing these night shows. I'm such a better person at night. So thanks for having us. Follow me on Letterboxd, all this normal business. This is my 4th out of 5 podcasts I'm doing this week, so feeling good.
Jenna?
It's at Hey It's Jenna Lynn on social media. As always, go read some comics and go subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is at Go Read Some Comics.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for hanging with us. This is our last episode of the week. So I will say this, Thursday night in Louisville, if you're in the area, I'm making my OVW Rise debut. That's their live show. It starts at 7 p.m. Eastern time. It's on the live show, not the Overdrive pre-show. This is really cool for me. I'm very excited. Thank you to everybody who supported this weird little wrestling journey I'm on and talk about more than you probably want to hear about. And then on Sunday in Gallatin, Tennessee, I have another match. I'm taking the Syndicate on over there at the Gallatin Civic Center at the FXE show. So if you're in the area, either of those areas, please come hang out. John Cena is not your friend. All right? He broke up with all of you, especially that little kid in the front row. Play our show for your dad. Play it for your cat. Have yourself a wonderful week, and we will see you on Monday. Bye.
Bye.